Sound. It's a really important mechanic in Five Nights at Freddy's 6. The entire game is based around being as quiet as possible to avoid being detected. But of course, you read the title, you saw the thumbnail, you should all know the drill by now. We are playing Five Nights at Freddy's 6, but my game is muted. How do you guys know my game is muted if I usually mute the gameplay so you guys listen to me better? Well, you don't know for certain, but I did a live stream where I did this challenge. Even though I did it on stream, this is a much different story. On stream, I got very lucky and was able to finish the game in about an hour, but this time, I was not so fortunate. Enough yapping, let's get to the rules. My game from start to completion ending must be completely muted, and I must accept every salvage. But Kabuto, you might be asking, why don't you just use your live stream footage for this video? Why did you replay the entire game again without sound? That is a great question, and the answer comes down to that I used this footage for the live stream highlights video. I figured it'd be lazy if I just reused that footage again for this video. So, let's get started with Monday, and let the suffering begin. As always, we start with the ball pit. Luckily for this challenge, the only money I really need is the money for the office upgrades. Believe me, without these upgrades, I would probably go insane. After being the best ball pit player in the entire world, I was able to buy Midnight Motors. Normally, this game would blow my eardrums out, but obviously because the game is completely muted, my ears get to live another day. Midnight Motorist's glory was short-lived because now I bought the easiest quick money-making game, Carnival Hoops. Carnival Hoops is the best because it's so easy. With just 2 play tokens, I was able to make $1,000 on my first day. Monday night has nobody active, and this is no different. Of course, I'm going to explain how the game works and my game plan. Boy, is my game plan going to change throughout the nights because this challenge gets rough. If you're living under a rock and don't understand how this game works, you don't go from 12 AM to 6 AM. You need to complete 3 categories of tasks and then press log off. Sounds easy, right? Well, no, as I said, the game is based on sound. Sound is the most important mechanic in this game. Just like FNAF 4, when an animatronic is getting ready to attack, you need to shine your flashlight down the vent and wait until they leave. The animatronics are guaranteed to leave if you completely quiet the office down by turning the PC and fan off. Can you already see a problem? I have absolutely no idea what an animatronic is or isn't in my vents. I'm just forced to take an educated guess, and before I forget, at the start of this night, I bought the 2x printer and high uplink. That should be everything important so far. Let's log off, have a nice time at home, get a cup of coffee, then go to sleep after a hard day of work. Just kidding, now it's time for the salvage of the animatronic. Now you might be saying, why salvage when you can just throw them out in the alley and easily beat the game? Well, if I did that, this wouldn't be a challenge, so I accept the salvage. Salvages are interesting when you're deaf. You might think it's all visual, but audio does play a role in the salvage. Typically, you'll hear something you hadn't heard originally. That means you're at risk of getting jump scared regardless of what state the animatronic is in. But because I can't hear that sound, I'm always at risk of getting killed from the neutral state, which is just a super awesome mechanic, Scott. Very cool. Salvage with Molten Freddy was just... I don't even know how to put it. As you've probably noticed from the footage, Molten Freddy just loved jumping from stage 1 to 3 from a single paper flip. Speaking of paper flip, there is a slight issue. I don't know when the audio prompts start and stop, meaning I just have to guess when to lift the paper, right? Surprisingly, there is a super easy way to know. If you don't raise the paper after a certain time, the arrow to lift the paper up will start blinking. It's because of this indicator that the salvages aren't near impossible. Thankfully, I got lucky on the salvage and was able to get my free $500, which you know I used and abused. Thanks to Hoops, of course, I could get rich quick and basically buy whatever I needed, but I was focused on getting bonus revenue because more money equals good. I bought the deluxe stage on a massive discount with no risk involved, and I upgraded my floor plan twice. Now, why would I blow like $1,000? Well, obviously so I can buy the side stage and the vacuum cleaner. After I set them all up, some dude I guess just walked in and decided this was a $1,000 masterpiece. With the Trash in the Gang achievement money and all the money I acquired from playing Hoops, I just bought a bunch of bonus revenue stuff because as a company, I need to be as greedy as possible. But I still need to save some money for the last office upgrade, the handyman upgrade to make maintenance go faster. This isn't the most important upgrade because the maintenance is dead quiet without upgrades, but it is still very nice to have. Speaking of upgrades, let's get into Tuesday night and go get that handyman. Tuesday's a cakewalk, but that doesn't mean I didn't learn anything. I learned very early on that motion detection was going to be a very helpful tool at the start of the nights. Not being able to hear when the animatronics come to events, it's very helpful to know where to start placing a lure and control them. But since this is only Tuesday, I really don't have to worry about dying considering Molten Freddy's AI is pretty terrible from here to Thursday. But believe me, he will get his day of reckoning. Or I guess I should call it his night of reckoning? Look, what I'm trying to say is that Molten Freddy was very annoying from Thursday and onward. But that's a future me problem. Current me is the problem of salvaging Afton. Just kidding, this was the easiest salvage. Why, you might ask? That is a question I legitimately cannot answer. Look, long boring story short, I only had to taste Afton twice for a free $1,000 check. Wednesday is when I started collecting the Rockstar animatronics, except Lefty, because the more there are in the building, the more likely I am to develop depression from dying over and over and over and over again. But that's off topic. I also bought Candy Cadet before calling it good enough to start Wednesday night. Wednesday night wasn't that bad. So far I haven't died in this challenge, and I kept up that streak with Wednesday. This is probably because the AI was still pretty stupid, but that doesn't mean this was a total walk in the park. The animatronics at this night started to have me wondering what my gameplay was going to be later, because I started to realize that just relying on my luck was not going to work for much longer, and I would need another strategy. Patience. What do I mean by patience? Well, I mean taking my time with tasks. Obviously I couldn't take too long, because then I would definitely get into an unavoidable scenario where I get screwed over by RNG. So, by patience, I just mean every now and then turn off the PC and fan and do a quick check for animatronics before placing another audio lure down. Doing this would ensure that I don't get myself killed by just pushing my luck. But of course, that's a later me discovery. It's now time for current me with the salvage of Scrap Baby. Was the salvage hard? Not really. Was I still nervous though? Of course I was. A giant killer robot all of a sudden jumping in your face will always be scary, sound or no sound. The salvage though didn't go too bad, and I was raking in a bunch of money at this point to just mess around. I didn't really need to buy anything Thursday because, well, I didn't really have anything I needed to buy now, did I? So, let's just get into what was somehow the worst night in this challenge. I know you're probably wondering why this was the worst night, considering there are still only 3 animatronics in the building, plus Friday and Saturday was going to get much harder with the addition of higher AI and Lefty. Well, it comes down to my strategy no longer working. Originally, the plan was to motion scan and then place a lure accordingly. This worked because luring Molten Freddy and Acton with a single lure was very much possible. Luring 3 animatronics with a single lure, however, though, is pretty rare, and the animatronics from Thursday and onward tend to split up more and are fooled less by the lures. If the animatronics split up, my chances of survival are pretty low because when I place the lure, I'm banking on the fact that I can just watch one vent and pray, but now I need to be extra cautious because I never know what could be behind me. This is when I learned to be patient. Like I explained in the previous night, I needed to take my time doing tasks, otherwise I was nearly guaranteed to die to an animatronic that didn't follow the lure and just snuck up behind me. Who was the one that finally broke the no death streak? Ready Spaghetti. As they say, third time's the charm. I finally learned my lesson and changed my game plan. The plan was no longer to rely on just luck and finish my tasks as quick as possible. It was to now do specific tasks at specific times for minimum detection so my lures could be at max efficiency. Freddy Spaghetti finally had some mercy on me and I was able to log off and complete Thursday, straight from bad night to even worse with the salvage of Lefty. Believe me, I knew what was coming with this salvage. Past me said it perfectly. The thing, I don't know if I'll be able to even survive this because I've had Lefty jump from neutral to insta-killing me for lifting the paper, so cool. We're cool, right, Lefty? No one's gotta get hurt here. You can chill, sit in that. Are you sitting or are you standing? I don't really know. You can, sit. I think you're sitting. You can just sit down, relax, have a nice tea party. Lefty did not want to have a nice tea party. So it turns out Lefty, in fact, did not want to have a nice tea party with me. But hey, at least now I could finally finish the Rockstar's Assembly achievement for $20,000, which, no, does not play a single role in helping me survive. I bought a new ball pit because, the old one was literally just a cardboard box. And then I got right into Friday night because there was nothing else to do. Okay, I lied when I said Thursday was the worst night. This was the night I died the most on. Why? Because doing printing first, the longest task, was no longer viable. You see, even though my printing is quieter, it is still very loud and draws a lot of attention to my office. The new plan was to instead start off doing the ordering tasks because of how fast and silent they were. But of course, a lot of problems came down to the animatronics being very unpredictable. I had so many runs where I would set up motion detection and basically see no movement. That means from there, I had to take a 50-50 guess on whether the audio lure should go to the left or the right. I wish I was joking when I said this, but I had a run that didn't even last 20 seconds. That's how bad this night really was. But by saying my prayers extra hard and taking the night even slower, I did eventually get to log off. Saturday I didn't really do anything, so we'll just go into Saturday night. This night wasn't as bad as Friday now that my strategy was all figured out. That didn't stop me from getting some pretty unlucky runs. Believe me, I did have some close runs. I had a run where I was in the last 2 prints before Lefty came up on me from behind. After about 20 minutes, I finally got a perfect run. First audio lure was able to attract all 4 animatronics to the right side. While short-lived, it definitely made a big impact on the night overall. I was able to order all of my supplies rather quickly. It's also worth mentioning that I finally learned how to count. Instead of spastically checking the vent and my PC for a task to finish, I instead was counting on a rough estimate on how long the task should take to check back. Originally I was using temperature as an estimate, but that wasn't entirely reliable for obvious reasons like temperature increase and decrease being RNG. I took my time doing the maintenance because I really didn't want to ruin a good run like this, and I personally think this was for the best because by taking my time, one at a time, I was slowly making progress while not putting myself in too much danger. And lastly, I was at the printing. Printing went a little something like this. Okay. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. By counting backwards from 15, I was guaranteeing that I was actually finishing my print before turning the PC off. Trust me, if you have to redo a print, you are most likely going to die. Then before I knew it, I was finally able to log off. Oh my god, I did it. Alright. Volume mixer. Watch this. Boom. See? Muted. Hello.
No.
There we go. It's working again.
This
See?
was a gift
Boom.
for us.
After finishing this challenge, I realized that somehow beating the game with no utility or upgrades was harder than me beating the game without sound, in a completely sound-reliant game. Now that is just stupid. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Click the end cards on screen for more entertaining content.